Hello and welcome back to your favorite podcast, the Golden Nugget Podcast.
Yes.
I am your host, Anna Golden. We're so excited that you came back to listen, or maybe this is your first time. Hello and welcome. We love you so much. The desire for this podcast is for you to feel like you're just sitting, either getting ready, driving in your car, wherever you listen to podcasts, you're just talking to a couple of your best friends. So I am joined by a few of my best friends, Kayla over there on the ones and twos.
Hey, bestie.
Hey, bestie, Kayla. I love it. Imagine that's like your nickname on the podcast.
We want Bestie Kayla.
Wait, I kind of love that.
I'm getting ick from it, but okay.
Hey, Kayla, how you been?
I'm good.
Awesome.
And then we have Enoch.
The one and only.
Enoch's in a different seat today, guys. If you are only a listener, normally Enoch is by a very janky little camera that he loves because it's really low res.
Episodes.
Which honestly, though, is like a little unfair because I feel I'm getting shot in like 4K. I think it might be 5K today, which is new.
No, it's not.
It's not?
If anything, it's less.
Is it really?
We're working on the cameras.
Okay,
Listen.
yeah. Everything's
We'll
work
get to
in
6K
progress.
by next month. Know that.
I don't want that.
We're on the
Like,
way.
I don't even desire
every
that.
poor.
I'll
Literally.
move up to 4K. She'll be at 6K.
Okay, then why? I just don't understand
And
why
that's
we
on
need
growth.
more resolution. You know what I mean? Like, give me a blurring effect.
Put it in the
Take me
comments. Do
back.
you guys care about resolution, or is
Well, of course they care.
or is it just about how funny we are?
Here's the thing,
We're pretty funny.
you guys, and you might be thinking also if I know this is also audio listeners, but if you do watch on the video, I currently have glasses on. Do you see me in glasses all the time? No. I have gone through it this week. This is post-Easter week. And
Easter
I don't
was a
know.
blast.
It was so
It
fun.
was also
If
a
you
trial.
work in full-time ministry, Easter is like the Super Bowl. I will say that Easter never wears me down. Like, I get so excited about it.
Same.
Like,
all
I
adrenaline.
honestly feel like I get more momentum from weekends like that than like an average weekend. But the reality is your body is like going like hard.
Yeah.
And you're just up early and all the things. I don't know if it was like the eyelashes that I wore on Easter because I don't normally wear fake eyelashes. Actually, last time I wore fake eyelashes was our wedding.
Those lashes were lashing.
Thank you for that. Okay.
Mhm.
And that, little did I know that would spiral me. My eye, maybe
Come on.
I'll insert a picture.
Spit it out.
I don't know. These pictures are so embarrassing. Imagine the movie Hitch, and that's what I looked like. It was literally so bad.
Y'all, she almost needed an eye patch.
Like, it was honestly pretty bad.
It
So then I had to
was-
go to urgent care to get like a steroid shot. They're like, what happened? Like, super severely allergic. Of course, it goes to the other eye. And then now both. And then it looked like bloodshot for a while. This is my first day that I feel like my eyes are decent. And
Yeah,
that was
you
like
look
5
great.
days ago.
All
Thank
that
you
to
for
say,
saying
she's
that.
wearing glasses.
Yeah.
And Easter was a blast.
All that to say, I can't wait till 5K, and then we get to see this in a little bit more. So I would have loved a little less resolution today, if I'm quite honest, but it is what it is.
Amen.
But today we have Enoch with us in the hot
Hey.
seat.
Let's
He's
go.
moved
What's up?
chairs. He's
Yeah.
co-hosting today because
That I am.
this is the most. I know we're only like 2 episodes in. It's like, how requested can an episode be after like 6
I'm like,
minutes?
I got promoted.
Okay, this is the most requested episode. The minute any of y'all saw me with the mic in my hand, we're like, oh, but we want to know about Enoch and the story of how you guys started dating. And I also did like a podcast not too long ago with Rita Springer, and we talked about singleness, and then we talked about like my story of like getting married. And I think that just started a lot of conversation around like details, like what did that look like? What did it look like when you guys were dating? When did you meet? We got married pretty fast. And
Some would say.
Yeah. I'm like, if it was, my parents got engaged in 6 weeks.
Which is
I'm like, so that's
insane.
But obviously
Yeah.
that was like 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. It was a different time.
So a different time. Now people honestly, this is a whole nother topic, but people date for like 5 years now and then get married.
disgusting.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'm not allowed.
Kayla.
No offense.
No offense.
That's just
5
a little
years.
crazy.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, I understand like age dynamics and those certain things and sometimes like financial dynamics as well. But I think there is an element to when you know, and when you're in that phase of life. They say like women wait for the right person and men wait for the right timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
Sure.
do you feel like that's real?
I don't know. I feel like men are kind of the same way. When you know.
But it's like when guys are like, okay, I want to get married. They kind of like marry who's in front of them.
Yeah.
Or
Okay,
it's like
yeah.
with girls.
I feel like the only thing that would no, I would assume that for some men.
He's like,
no. I would assume
I'm
that
gonna
for
throw
some
up.
men that would like, I guess, make sense if they're like waiting for the right financial moment, or I guess career-wise, wherever they want to be.
Yeah.
I guess that would make sense.
But I've seen
it's
it where
also,
they're like, oh, she's the one I'm going to marry. I'm going to wait 3 years till I'm financially stable. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Painful, but I've seen it.
I will say, I know we're already just getting into like semantics of now just relationship and dating. I have known, and there's always exceptions to the rules, okay? Like you might be listening to this and you're the exception. That's amazing. But I think that I have rarely seen when a man really wants something, him to not chase after it and just go for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that for a lot of even relationships that I've been in before, and it was like, I don't know, I was so convinced that it was it or that he wanted me so badly. It's like, you'll know.
Yeah.
You'll
like,
feel it.
You'll always
Right.
know.
You'll feel
Like
it.
if you're confused, I rarely think that means that they're actually like internally dying inside to be with you. I think most cases men will really chase after what they want. But
in most cases, they've got to wait 5 years to kind of just find that desire.
yeah.
So, screw it.
I think sometimes, it takes sometimes longer for guys to get into that space of like wanting to be married. And it's also like culturally where you grew up. What did marriage look like in your household?
Right.
What did it look like? What does it look like in your church or your community or like the sphere that you're in? Are you around a bunch of different entrepreneurs that aren't valuing relationship? Or are you around a bunch of young married couples that you're like, oh, this is something I desire for my life? So it's like there's so many different elements.
Yeah.
All that to say, we're not here to talk about anybody else's relationship but
Yeah,
ours.
yeah.
Yeah, we're here for
I
the real
also-
tea.
All that to say, some would think it was quick.
Yeah, it was.
And maybe it was.
It was kind of quick, but
Yeah.
I think now we can get more backstory of how we actually knew each other way longer before when we decided we started dating. I do want to say we have been married for 3 months.
About to be 3 months. Yeah.
We've been married for 3 months,
Which
and
is crazy.
in no way do we feel like we can give marriage advice.
That is not why we're here. I'll tell you that.
like maybe we'll say stuff
like,
that
if you
might
got
like
advice.
work for us. Yeah, we're taking advice. Like
Yeah.
I think that's something that I can sometimes kind of irk me when I'm like, oh man, we just don't have experience in it yet. Like,
yeah.
of course, there's things that maybe we do that are great practices, but I feel like any amazing practices we might have are learned from others
Definitely.
and people that we've been able to glean
Yeah, I don't
from.
think we've come up with anything on our own.
I don't think we have a curriculum yet, but we're having a great time.
Yeah.
I love being
It's a
married
lot
to
of
you.
fun.
How do you like being married to me?
I think it's a blast.
Okay.
Honestly, having the best time of my life.
Wow.
I wouldn't trade it. Yeah,
That's
it's
so sweet.
exhilarating.
Okay, let's
It's
start.
nerve-wracking.
Let's start from the beginning. Nerve-wracking is hilarious.
Let's talk about how we met.
Okay, this
This would be what, 2 years ago?
20. Well, the first time you saw me.
Yeah.
The context of how we met is he worked for a church in Georgia. And it's a church that I actually do a lot of stuff with. Really great friends of mine, Free Chapel in Gainesville, Georgia. And I think it was Forward Conference 2021.
Yeah, back after COVID.
So, but you were at Conference 2021 and we didn't meet, but you saw me.
I think so, yeah. Was that when you sang that Kanye song? She sang this Kanye song, and I was like, yep, fire.
Okay. It wasn't that I sang a
Okay,
Kanye
I see
song.
you.
It was way different context. I probably wouldn't do it again. I'm like, I don't know. It was
Let's
just
talk about Kanye.
no, that's not what we want to do. I
Love Kanye. We're praying for him.
Yeah, I think I did like nothing hurts anymore. I feel kind of
Yes.
free,
Felt
which
so
is not
good.
even technically a
Euphoric.
Kanye song. I think it's a sample. Anyway,
Yeah.
neither
Let's talk
here nor
about
there.
samples. Okay.
Sampling songs and songs. So that's like the first time you saw me. I don't think I saw you then yet.
No, we didn't meet that year.
Not until the following year.
Right.
Okay, so
2022.
I want your
Okay.
perspective of this, but
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't feel like this is right.
My perspective, of course, it's so different than yours.
Sure,
But it
let's-
is what it
okay,
is.
you go
What-
ahead and
what are we
say the
gonna lie?
story. You go
You
ahead
go
and say the
first.
story, and I'll say the truth.
So we met at Forward 2022
Sure.
back at the arena, and we met through a mutual friend.
Yeah, this is okay. Forward is a youth conference that I lead worship at every year. And a couple of my friends are over it. It's an incredible conference. There's so many amazing things that happened during this conference. And I'm giving context.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, and there was a sound check. I'm leading worship in the morning. I think I was leading worship Friday morning. So Thursday night late, I'm doing a sound check in the arena. There was some issues going on within, like, I think my set list or something. There was just like tensions. And if you've ever worked with me before, I get really serious when it comes to that kind of stuff because I'm just like,
she be locked in.
Yeah, just pretty diligent in it.
Yeah.
And we were just changing some things around. I think I even like changed my set list last minute. So I'm communicating changes. I'm doing all this stuff. Mind you, it's also like midnight. We're in the arena. We're getting this all like dialed in, having a few like little sound technical difficulties. And this is when I meet Enoch. I don't remember meeting Enoch.
She was in the thick of it, of course, but I remember because it was the first time I got to meet her.
Yeah, I guess my friend thought this would be a great time to introduce Anna to her friends. And I was like, great.
And we're better because of it. Anyways, I meet Anna, and she's in the middle of, I guess, tunnel vision and being locked in, trying to figure out her set. And she really doesn't give me time of day.
Ooh.
But I look at it now,
You
and I'm
thought
like,
I was
I
mean.
get it. I get it.
You thought I was mean. You said you thought I was like an
she was a little
egotistical.
No, I thought you were a little standoffish and just didn't give me time of day. And that's okay. And so
Thank you for saying that now.
conference goes by. I'm convinced she's in love with about 15 other people.
Oh my gosh, Enoch, what?
You know what? I actually do know what you're talking about now. And that's so crazy. I wasn't even dating anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Anyways. And so when do you remember meeting me?
I remember you had done some load-in stuff with my sister upstairs for like the merge table.
That same year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my sister actually came down and was like, oh, there's this really cute guy who's a part of the merch table. And I was like...
No, I wasn't. I was helping her with the merch table.
Anyway.
She begged me to.
Okay. All right.
Like,
Liz is going to love this. Yeah. My sister used to work with me sometimes. And it was just...
Shout out, Liz.
Shout out to Liz. She honestly did a great job. And also
killed
caused
it.
so much stress for me.
I don't think that was her fault. I think this was the year where you ordered a surplus of merchandise.
Well, it was
there was
all
like
like
20
missed
boxes.
sizes. There was so many things that had happened. Okay.
What an epic year.
It was an epic year. I'm sweating. Anyway, so I heard about you from Liz, and I think I was just like, oh gosh, Liz. I'm like, nobody here is cute. We're here to like,
This is about the Lord.
This is about the
Liz.
Lord. We're doing like tunnel vision. Do your thing. Run the merch table. There's
Locked
so
in.
much going on. Okay. And then, so I think I kind of avoided you a little bit, but
Why?
probably because of that. Because I was like, oh, we're not trying to, this isn't about a boy. This is like whatever.
That's real.
But then the following, after conference, we kind of all hang out on that Monday or Sunday night or something. And then we all went to go play pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
And
like
then,
these days a lot of people are falling in love on a pickleball court.
wow, I don't think that was our story. We actually got there.
It was.
I
not.
actually
I'll say
thought
that.
Enoch was a little bit of a jerk.
How?
Because
we get on this pickleball
court. No,
and she's acting like she doesn't even know me. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, first
That's
of all,
real.
I don't.
So I go.
like, actually,
At
I
this
don't
point,
know
I
you.
don't even know him. I just have heard his name, and I had forgotten it. So I was trying to be considerate, and I go up, and I was like, hey, could you remind me of your name? And he was like, Enoch, what was your name again? Mind you,
that sounds so sassy. That
it
doesn't
was
sound
so
like me.
it was so sassy. And mind you, I'm like, and I'm not this person, but I'm like, homie, I am. First of all, I think you probably created the graphic of like me being a guest at the conference.
I don't remember
And
that.
then you also were helping run my merch table. You didn't know my name, so I was like, okay. So then I was like, I think you know my name.
I was being a little petty. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
And then my response was, I think you know my name. And then you thought I was the worst.
Yeah, I mean, that response.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's honestly not a normal response. But at this point, I'm sassy. I'm like, you're trying to be mean to me too? Anyway.
Yeah. So it's like a kindergarten
So,
relationship.
guys,
where
we
you're just
fell in love
being
at
mean
first sight.
Yeah. Definitely not. So definitely not love at first sight, I
Yeah.
would say.
Okay, well, that was just our first interaction
Yeah.
with one another. And I feel like there were just so many other things going on.
I feel like it could have been worse. You know?
But you're obviously making it sound like it was horrible.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
No, I did think you were funny.
We hung out that night, and I thought you were hilarious. She had so many bits. I'm like, it's obvious you practice this at home.
Practice this at home.
She had like these little bits with Liz, and it was like stand-up comedian type deal. Wow. I was like, yeah, she's funny, but she cares to be funny.
What is that?
It was practiced.
You thought it was so rehearsed. I don't think any of that was rehearsed. That's such a crazy thing.
Honestly, though, but I thought you were great.
Thank you for saying that. Now,
once we had resolve.
Okay, and then the next time we saw each other,
was it change?
No,
I don't know.
No, I had come back to speak to the college. I think that was it.
Yeah.
And you picked me up from the airport. You were like hosting me with a friend of ours.
Right.
And then it was like, I think something I realized about you, we had gotten in the car. Liz was there again. Shout out Liz. So Liz was excited.
This time Liz was acting like she didn't know me, which is so ironic. Liz literally, I think she gets in the car 20 minutes and she was like, what was your name again? I'm like, so all the Goldens do this?
I think Liz had even like DM'd you or something.
All right, let's continue.
Maybe, you know what?
We love Liz.
We love it. Anyway, so then we're in the car and I think we were talking about something in the college. I was going
We were talking about what the topic was.
And then I think we were just kind of like ruminating on it a bit.
Yeah.
And a bit in a minute. I just said a bit it.
A bit in a minute. A bit in a minute. Anyways,
I'm gonna
the
throw
topic
up.
was.
I'm so embarrassed I did that. Anyway,
it's okay. The topic was women in ministry.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I think we were just kind of like deep diving into some stuff, and I loved, of course, like since the minute I met you, I always thought you were cute.
Nice, thank you.
You've only gotten cuter for sure.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'd hate to think that I like had glory days. Now I'm just like, that's what I was.
Could you imagine?
Some days I do, guys. Let's be honest.
No, I go through that all the time. You ever just go in like a camera
Yes.
roll moment and you're like, oh, you need to look back at something. I'll look at a picture of me 48 hours ago and be like, man, I've lost it.
No, literally. I've got it set on my home screen where it like shows me memories.
Yeah.
And I think I saw one yesterday of me like 2 years ago, and I'm like, I thought I was, ugly then.
I know. That's like, I wish I was
like,
as fat
like,
as the first time I thought I was fat.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Like high school fat is a different kind of fat. I'm like, if I could go back to her and
If
be
I
like,
could
if I could grab her by the face and be like, oh my gosh, you think wanting to be in a tankini's bad? Imagine wanting to wear a sweatsuit over your swimmy.
Oh my God. I've never even heard of that.
I was a queen of the tankinis growing up.
I bet y'all have never gotten in the pool with a white t-shirt on though.
I 100%
y'all ain't gonna see all of this.
Are you kidding?
I did all the push-ups I could before I got in here. I still can't. All that to say, y'all, I was at Orange Theory this morning. Hit my my 1 hour sesh, so we're on the way back. Comeback
Enoch
season.
burns 1,000 calories. I burn
A
600.
session, yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I'm
But
pushing
Anna's
myself just
also
as
in the
hard.
red zone for like maybe
Which that's not like a
40 minutes
bragging
a session.
thing. That's more like I'm dying. Like they're pulling up a crash cart next to my freaking thing, and they're like, "Are you okay, man?"
They pulled in an oxygen tank last time.
I'm like, they're like, "She's in the red. She's in the red."
Yeah, she's in the red like 40 minutes out
Yeah,
of the
because
hour.
I'd rather like die than not keep up with the workout. So I'm like,
and that's why we love you.
that's so
yeah,
great.
I literally would, I guess, rather die than not keep up with the workout.
Literally.
Anyway,
What were we talking about?
us and women in ministry.
Women in ministry.
No,
Okay.
we're in the car. We're talking about all these things. I of course thought you were cute,
Nice.
but
And of course, I always thought she was beautiful. I mean, let's be honest.
did you?
Yes, of course. Just the sass was always hard to see through.
Oh my God.
That's
that filter
so
of sass.
That's
But no,
actually
come
so
on.
crazy.
Honestly, you always intimidated me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Probably your eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
Stunning.
like, do we need a moment alone?
Kayla,
So, like, I'm gonna head
we're
out.
like, Kayla, get out.
I'm gonna head out.
But yeah.
Anyway, so I loved the depth of your conversation. Like you always wanted to talk about like what the Lord was doing. And then from there, I think it was just different moments that we had that I do a lot of ministry stuff in Atlanta, I feel like.
She
like
does.
there's a lot of like different churches that I go, I'll lead worship or I'll speak or do something like that. And there's just a lot of different things. And so anytime I would be coming in town, a good friend of mine would always come and she would be like, Enoch wants to come too. And I was like, all right, that's sweet. Like that he would want to come to this worship conference I'm doing. And you always wanted to come and you always were like hungry and you weren't like sitting back, like you were leaning into everything. And then when we would go to lunch afterwards or dinner afterwards, it was like, I think it's so common to just want to have like casual like chat and like laugh and joke, which I love doing. But you liked diving into like what Holy Spirit was doing in the room. So it was just a really different, I don't know, like idea of a young single guy. I feel like I travel all the time and I get to meet a lot of people at different churches or even like colleges. And you were like kind of polarizing to me.
Wow.
Yeah. I've told you that.
Not polarizing.
Yeah.
That's
it was
special.
just
Thank
like,
you.
and I would tell my friends that I were friends with you. I was like, man, he's such a catch. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Stop it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm humbled by that. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that, I guess.
But I also thought I would never like you.
Tell us why. That's the real tea.
Yeah, no, I think it was like in that time, I just didn't think that we were ever going to like be together.
Right.
Because we really did get to know each other in the context of like friend of a friend.
Right.
And you were
Truly.
like super buddy with a lot of friends.
Right.
So it wasn't like that kind of, I don't know, narrative.
Yeah.
And then when we got closer, it was like a season in my life where I felt like the Lord was like, don't have any placeholders. Yeah. Which was a huge thing. And I know that we did like we asked for like questions and stuff. And there was a lot of questions about like singleness, how it led to this and how it led to like our marriage and all the things. And I do feel like a huge thing that was a problem for me in my singleness, not a problem. Yeah, maybe it was a problem. Maybe it was just bad habits. I always liked to have someone around, like the entertainment of it. Even if it wasn't like someone that I'm like kissing or going on dates with, but we're hanging out all the time, we're texting all the time, we're calling.
Right.
And it was just like placeholders. Like I would just have someone there, like always have like an option. And I really just felt like the Lord was like, I can't fill a spot that is constantly being filled.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. So
That'll preach.
we really got into, when we, like our friendship built more, it was in that season. So that was not even like a concept in my mind.
Truly. Yeah.
Of like, I'm looking to find someone or be with someone or date anybody. So I do think that was kind of a bit of the beauty too.
Yeah.
Of
I think, that created like the depth in our relationship or friendship. I think that like made it easier to talk to you. Mm-hmm. I think our conversations just got not always deep, but I think like nerves weren't a factor because we're just like strictly friends. And I think it also helped that I got to a place where I value like having you in my life as a friend more than anything. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't want to tamper with that, even though I did have feelings for you. I was like, it has more value to like have you in my life than to like shoot my shot, it miss, and you're gone.
Yeah.
So I think God literally used that season for us to literally be able to like have some, I guess, relational equity.
For sure.
You know?
And then from there, I think it was right before my album recording in February, I did a conference. So this was like what the first conference that we really hung out with was in June of 2022. And then that fall, we saw each other a lot because I was just like in and out of Atlanta. Yeah. And then February of that next year, 2023, is when I went to Change Conference. And it was such a powerful worship conference.
That was I'll never forget that conference
all the time.
Yeah.
It was like transformative. There's a lot of going on in me too as well.
Honestly,
because
me too.
It was like right before my live recording.
Wow, that was before?
It was in February, so it was a month later was live recording.
And me personally, I was just going through it. I didn't have live recording or anything. But that conference was like
I was going through it. I think I sat on the stage and cried. I was so embarrassed.
Yeah. She had the speaking moment, and she'll never admit this, I guess, or even
Do you want to know something that's so crazy? Is
what?
I guess you added, you had voice memos from the Change Conference.
Yes, I recorded everything.
All on my phone right here. It just popped up on my iTunes like yesterday.
That's so weird. I think
That's
our
crazy.
iTunes are merging because I'm getting some of her music mixed into mine.
Like the fact that you
Yeah.
put a voice
Anyways.
memo of my whole thing. It's so sweet.
Yeah, she got up there crying. Anyways, but this conference,
I know, which is not the norm for me. I'm not like a big crier on stage.
yeah, it definitely surprised me. But man, that conference
We were both
was
broken before the Lord for this conference.
Yeah, definitely. I think
and
I was weeping in some like old lady's hands, arms at some point. It was so powerful. I
just remember there was like one session where we were like speaking in tongues for like an hour.
shout out. I think that was with William McDowell.
Oh man,
Yeah, if
honestly,
he grabs the mic, y'all are about to be praying
Yeah.
and singing in tongues until
In tongues.
glory
But-
falls.
Love it.
it was like a lot.
Man.
It was
Yeah.
a lot. And
Yeah.
then so we kind of the same thing. Like we all were just like processing it together.
Yeah.
And I just loved like you wanted to like dive more into it
Yeah.
and like
definitely.
dig into like what the Lord was doing. And then I think that was like the trip where I was like, he's like pretty cute. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, I literally was like, okay. And then
And I left that trip. I'm like, wow, she's finally nice to me.
you're so crazy
I had no
for that.
idea.
You're literally
Genuinely.
so crazy for that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Because
so
in the back of my head, I'm always like, yeah, she's cute. But it's like,
and then I think we
Let me
like
get her
took
to be
like some
nice to
cute
me.
pictures together too. We can
yeah,
insert
the
those
last
in.
night.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then you dropped me off at the airport, like me and Liz. Liz is always gonna be there.
Yeah,
Me,
shout out Liz.
yeah. And then I remember I like got on the plane and I like had sent you a text or something, and I thought we're now CSIing how like the genesis of our relationship, but I thought it was like flirty. You didn't think it was at all.
Oh.
No, not at all. I honestly just thought she was being nice.
Okay, this is like, wow.
So
Yeah,
I wasn't.
I
I
really
thought-
don't know.
I wasn't
They don't
stewarding
get
it
it.
like
You guys
I was
don't
trying to
get
spit game. I wasn't stewarding it like, oh, this is my shot. Let me go for it. I was like, wow, she's finally being nice. Let me just manage this in a way.
But you were
Wow,
like,
this is good
and-
context.
yeah. And then but even responding, you're like, missed you already. Like, I
Of
can't
course.
wait for like,
Miss you already.
because
Sorry.
That's
you were
flirty.
coming to Dallas in 3 weeks
Yeah,
for the recording. And in my mind, I don't think I've ever told you this.
I don't think so. We're about to get the inside scoop. What are you about to say?
In my mind, I was like, okay, I'm like we might like each other in my recording. Like, I'm like, maybe this is like heating up. When I tell
Oh.
you, and this is no diss to anybody. There was so much going on during that week. I don't even remember Enoch being there.
And I was there, y'all. I was there.
he was helping with merch again.
Yo, I was
People
running
in the
merch at
morning
Shoreline. I was there when she woke up. A huge group of people walk in. We're like,
Mind
surprise!
you,
It's the morning of the recording.
the morning of my live recording felt like my wedding.
Yeah.
Because every single one of like my family members and my friends wake me up in my bed and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I think the night before, like my friend Aiden had just gotten in town. So like me, Aiden, Bede, who is my co-producer, who's like best friends with Aiden, and his wife Izzy, we all like went to dinner. And this was like the only like human like thing I feel like that I did that week. So we stayed out till like 2 a.m. So then like everybody comes in the room at like 8 a.m. and I'm like, and they're like,
barely
alive.
and there's Enoch.
Yeah,
He
I
just
had
flown in.
Yeah, just flown in. I'm like, I'm here.
She doesn't. And I think I texted Liz. I had like a chat with like my sister.
Your assistants.
It was like an assistant chat. Her best friend was also helping assist me that week. Kara, love her. And then my assistant, Tino. So I just texted that chat and I was like, get everybody out of my room, please. And I wrote it in a nice way. And so like, all right, everybody, like let's, and then I just like, I don't even know if I saw you for.
Yeah, I don't think
Like-
you remember seeing me at all.
I know.
All that to say,
He was
I came
there.
to Dallas for the recording. Kayla remembers me being
That was
there.
my first time ever seeing Enoch. And I remember just being like, because there was so many people I didn't know. I think the first time I actually realized you were there was at Anna's house after the recording.
Oh, okay.
That was the first time I ever
I think that's when
remember
you
seeing
realized I was there.
Yeah, because my sister, Liz, honestly, Liz is getting such a highlight in this episode.
Yeah. She's the MVP of all of this.
Liz threw me a party.
Without Liz, none of this is possible.
Yeah, honestly. Liz threw a party. If she was here right now, she'd be like, I told her to date him 1,000,000 years ago. We get it, Liz.
Yeah. You'll have your moment in the hot seat.
Yeah. But I was like sitting on the couch like a shell of a person, because I mean it was just like the end of the recording.
Yeah,
I was
she
so
had
tired.
just done so much. She sang like 20
She
something
poured it out.
songs. Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I was just a little
And
overstimulated.
I definitely felt that from her. She walked in the house. Everyone was like, surprise. I'm like, that girl want to go to sleep.
And I was just
you
like,
could definitely tell.
Yeah.
yeah, I was a little bit of like a shell, but I was so grateful that everybody wanted to come over. And then there was just this like two-edged sword of like, everybody didn't want to bother me, so nobody was really talking to me. So that I was just kind of like sitting by myself, like that little fox at the edge of the bed meme. I was just like,
No, literally.
and
It's
I
like
kept
we're all there
looking
for her,
over.
but we're not talking to her.
Yeah,
No, legit.
and I kept looking over, and you kept looking at me, and then Rita grabs me, and she's like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "What?"
Literally.
I'm literally just like,
Delirious?
"What do you mean?" She's like, "Who's that guy over there?" I was like, "Oh, that's Enoch." She's like, "He's so cute," and I was like,
No, legit. Everyone that I knew that
Shout
didn't know
out
Enoch
Rita.
was like, "Who is that guy?"
Yeah.
My sister was like, "Who is that?"
"What a
Aw.
hot little topic you were."
And I'm just looking for the Lord.
He's like, "I'm looking for direction."
Yeah.
And,
I'm like, where's Willie McDowell? Let's
and
get
then
back to it.
Rita was like, I think she was like, "Oh, what about him first? Like another one of our girlfriends there." And I was like, "Maybe." And I was literally just like in such like a haze. And then I guess you'd come over to my house the next day.
Girl, I was there all week.
Wow.
I was.
Yeah,
She's
I
like,
I was
he
doing
was
all the
there.
things. I think I unpacked the car with Dee and your mom.
My dad.
What else did we do?
Yeah, you were, I guess you were
I
there
think we
like
deep cleaned the house.
wow, that's sweet. Thank you. Cuz when like
It was
we
a good
started
time.
dating and he came and visited me.
I played pickleball with Josh the next day
That's
and Liz.
so crazy.
and
He
someone
was
else.
basically already part of the family.
No, because
I
when
was-
when
I
we
was
started
running.
dating and you came and visited me in Dallas and you like had come into my studio and you were like, "Oh, I just love this room." I was like, "You've been in here?" he's like, "I took a nap in here,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "When?"
She's like,
Making it sound like I was like just like sleazing through the I was definitely invited, but she does not remember any of this.
No,
I'm not
yeah.
that type of
Well,
person.
there
I'm
was
just,
so-
in our
There was
Right.
also so many people like staying at my
Yeah.
house. Like I loved having like a lot of my team stay during the break
Yeah.
of the recording. So I didn't know where
I
anybody
was
was.
definitely
doing
not just
anything.
tagging along.
That's
Okay, so
funny.
at the recording, it wasn't any like, still wasn't giving romantic vibes. Anna was kind of like, checked out. When did things start to like change?
Ooh. Okay. You want to
Okay.
go for this?
This is March.
Yep, March 2023.
I see you again in June.
For your sabbatical.
No, this was for Forward again.
Yeah.
Forward conference again. I saw you not really until like after the conference.
Right.
I will say I did see you during the conference because like you were like working,
Yeah.
and there was a moment when like Cody and Carrie were leading worship and you were just like, I guess you got off that session or something.
Yeah, they gave me one session off, and I was like, I'm sitting in the last one.
Yeah, you didn't want to choose mine.
The first one? I sit in the first session. They're like, get to work. What are you doing?
Okay, yeah, I guess it's real.
Yeah, Carrie
But-
and Cody were last, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just worship.
And I just saw you were just like worshiping, and I love it. I'm just big.
Probably saw me just like sobbing.
I
the
love.
concrete.
Well, I just like. I love the way that you worship. I love how passionate you are, and I
Wow.
love that dynamic in our marriage too. Because like when I'm leading worship, I can always, I like panic when I don't see you a little bit, because you always are like trying to be in my line of sight. But it encourages me so much. So
Wow.
I love. Any worship leader. Especially if you're like leading worship to like a very still room that maybe
Yeah.
everybody's really internal.
Definitely.
Having people that are like really seeking after the Lord, it encourages you so much. So having that like built in a partner for the rest of my life is kind of
Wow.
phenomenal. I love
That's
that about
sweet.
you.
Yeah, I bring out the flags.
No.
I've got about
back of the room.
I've got about 4 shofars under the bed right now.
No, I don't know if I would have loved if you were pulling out flags. Just loved the way that you worshipped. It was so beautiful to me. It encouraged me.
That's
and even
sweet.
like sitting in like the section I was at, I was just watching you and I was like, I love that about him.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Oh.
And then I didn't really see you that whole conference.
Yeah. I
With
didn't see
this
you
now,
either.
I'm like, now tables have turned. I'm like, oh, he's acting like he doesn't know me. So then,
No, I was the one locked in and working.
yeah, but then we all hung out at a friend's house, like over.
Right, when it was all over.
Yeah, when it was all over, and then we were kind of all just sitting around hanging out. I think we were all talking about dating for a while.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We were talking about Enneagram and all that, and the type of people that we'd want to marry.
I said that I'm
Characteristics and
an
all?
Enneagram 8. If you know what Enneagram is, it's like a personality profile.
Right. And I'm a 3. And so everything.
I'm an 8 wing 7, so it's like not as harsh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm a 3, and everything she was saying that night, I was like, oh, she's describing me.
So Enoch's like,
Wow.
Enoch's
but I was kind of just joking.
But I'd be like, oh, I want to be with a 3. I didn't know he was a 3. And then he'd be like, so what's up then? And we're in front of a whole group of people. And
Groups don't scare me.
sure.
You know
If anything, I had an
Enoch
audience.
had a little
if,
game.
anything, I had a little audience. I'm
Anyway,
like, what's up then?
he's making all these little comments, and I'm like, oh God. And then our friend Sean was there. I don't know if you know this. Everybody leaves. Like everybody walks out the door. I was staying at our friend's house. So I was there with like a couple girls. Everybody leaves. 5 minutes later, my friend Sean comes back in because he wanted to pump fake like he was leaving with everybody. He was like, why aren't you with Enoch? And I was like, Sean, stop.
Wow.
No, that's not a thing. He's like, I think he's in love with you. It was like the way he was talking. I was like, Sean, you're crazy.
The way he's talking, he wants you bad.
And it was just like,
Sean's like, he's fiending.
yeah. I was like, Sean, you're crazy. Anyway, so then I was like, no, we would never.
God's like,
Yeah.
I know.
And then
now-
chapter number 3.
Yeah. So then I go back to Georgia for my sabbatical, staying with a friend.
Right.
And then the beginning of it, it starts off with a conference. It was Tasha's conference in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right? So you came with me to that.
Yeah.
You've come
We just
with
love
me
going to conferences
Yeah, I know.
together.
Like we've literally just done so many
Yeah.
things.
If we're going to do anything, we're going to go
and it was for
catch
my
a conference.
And it was the day before my birthday,
yeah.
which was like so exciting because we were going to go to Destin. But you weren't initially coming with us.
No.
When my friend called me, it was like,
You hadn't thought of me.
okay. Well, it was just like a couple of my friends.
Yeah.
And then one of my friends called me and was like, hey, this is not funny. But it was
Don't
like, hey,
laugh.
I know, but it's just like the context feels crazy. But
Yeah.
it's like, hey, Enoch's grandma just passed away. Like, can he come on the trip? And I was like, why does that correlate? I was like, oh, is he like sad? And she's like, I think so. Yeah, like pretty sad. And I was like, okay, yeah, like invite him. Never in a million years did I think you were like gonna come on this like my birthday trip, and there you are. Like honestly, up until the very last minute of us like getting on the road from Atlanta to go to Destin, I never thought you were gonna come on that trip.
You got an opportunity to go to the beach, you're going to take it. Okay.
I was like, okay, fine, because someone had backed out last minute, so we had like an extra spot.
Liz backed out last minute.
Yeah, that's what it was.
look at
Anyway,
it coming in clutch
Shout
again.
out Liz again. Liz has assisted me
Liz-
about, 10 times by now?
Honestly, we need a little count every time we say Liz's name.
Yeah.
She's gonna love this. Anyway, so then we get to the beach. It's my birthday. You guys did like so many special things
Yeah.
for me. It was like so sweet. They like ordered me like this cake that I wanted, that I had sent my friend that I wanted so bad. Like Lexi like organized all
Yeah.
these things. And
Lexi was
then-
locked in that trip.
Yeah, she's the best.
Mhm.
And we were all just like in Destin for like 4 days,
Yeah.
just like hanging out. And I think there was like one night, and I will say, like, there, even with other girls on the trip, they were like, all right, like you would say like little remarks.
Me?
Yeah.
He
Okay.
was flirting.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
they were just
so.
like, all
Go,
right.
Enoch.
I'm just speaking my language to you.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, but
I refuse to admit I was flirting.
But still, like at that point, there's nothing that had happened between us.
No.
Like there was never any sort of
Yeah.
like
I think that was all like fun and games. It was jokes. And then when things got serious, it just got spiritual.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was definitely like, and Liz hyping me up, back to Liz.
Yeah.
Liz hyped me up before the trip. She's like, just kiss him. Like, gosh, like, just like, like at least like it's your birthday, whatever. So then on this trip, I'm like, we'll probably like kiss. And
So
there was
you thought,
one
you
night.
thought that on the way there?
I thought that like once we'd already been there.
Okay.
And I was like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, let's
Nice.
just.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
encourage that,
young.
I guess.
You're like, I'm young.
I can
it's
see
my
people being like,
birthday.
It's just a
What?
kiss.
Wasn't gonna do anything else. Everybody just relax. We were in Destin. This place looked like the Notebook. Okay, it was like,
Yeah,
okay,
it was
we might just
beautiful.
like share a kiss.
She was poolside just reading her book. She's like, yeah, I read books like at least like one a month. I'm like, girl, you've been on
Okay.
page 3 for about 4 days.
I said I read a fictional book once a year on vacation on my sabbatical. I'm like, what?
I'm like,
Ooh, that
okay.
got me
Anyways,
good.
I get in this pool. She sees my curls, jumping in the water.
Is this the
She's like-
infamous pool pic? Like, that little
Yeah,
video you posted
yeah,
on
yeah,
your
y'all, that
reel?
was day one.
It came from Destin.
Like she
Uh-huh.
already out here taking videos of me.
I was taking videos of literally quite everything. I mean, the
Yeah.
air, the wind.
Just vlogging.
Anyway, so then one night, our friends had gone to sleep, and then there was like a big fire pit at the hotel we were
Yeah.
at, and we just kind of like sat out there all night, and I was like, oh, for sure, we're probably gonna kiss.
It was very romantic, but it didn't take that turn, did it?
No, we both like started talking about the Lord and crying.
Yo, we're sobbing at some point. It's such a beautiful night. Wind was blowing. Stars were in the sky.
And I was like, so this
by
isn't
the
gonna
fire.
turn into one. It was like, so I think we're gonna kiss outside the fire pit. That didn't happen.
right.
And I'm like, it did take such a. I just remember too. It got so deep, and I was like, yeah, it's definitely not gonna happen. And it wasn't that I was just like bummed. I was like, all right, well, like maybe this
It
is.
was literally such a holy conversation.
It was. It
Yeah.
was beautiful, but I do feel like after that moment, we felt closer
Yeah, definitely.
for sure. The rest of that trip, it was like we felt closer, but there's still like nothing is happening yet.
Right.
And then we go back to Georgia. We're like still hanging out a bunch. And then I go to Orange County for Connor's bridal shower. And then I come back and then we're like hanging out more. And then we just like, I think that was like when I came back, and then we hung out just like every day.
Yeah, like
all
every day for a week.
And then we like stay up really late at night and talk.
Yeah.
No, like literally at this point still haven't kissed, hadn't even like
Yeah.
held each other's hand, I don't think.
Right.
Well, maybe we actually had at that point. And you thought that that's just like something I did.
Yeah, I just thought it was casual.
Excuse me?
It felt
Holding hands was like intimate.
it felt like it was
Exactly.
casual from her.
Okay.
And it literally was like it was the fact that like for so long we'd been friends for 2 years. You had never given me a sign that like this could be a thing. And so it goes back to like me protecting the friendship
Yeah.
over taking the risk of being with you. Because taking that risk and it doesn't work out, it's over as far as friends.
Yeah.
And so that goes back to in that same week where I noticed she didn't want to fly home. We hung out every day. She stayed in Georgia. And we went over to Todd's for dinner.
Yeah. And okay, no. There was more. There was like I come back from OC.
Right.
And then I'm speaking at that thing. I normally don't do anything on sabbatical, but Todd had asked me to like speak at like a team night.
Right.
And I brought Enoch with me, and we were like on the way there, and we were in the car, and you were like, do you want me to like pray over you before we go in there? Because like I was just like speaking for, I think I had like an hour to speak. And I was like, what? And then I think that was like the moment, I think we like held hands and prayed. I'm like,
Right.
well, this is so church. We're like, me and you,
We're like
like,
the most-
like literally,
most,
this
like,
is so, I think this is
Christian.
how people picture
Yeah.
like how any relationship of mine would start.
like almost
like we were
almost
so
a little
churchy.
corny. Oh, let me pray for you.
No,
I feel like it was a
literally.
little bit more deep than that.
Yeah, well,
Because
no,
we had been together for like a month hanging out.
yeah, it was.
But on this day, you were asked to speak. It was super last minute. And I could just feel like, I guess your anxiety. You were like battling
Sure.
some things mentally.
Mm.
And like we're literally about to be there. And I think we pulled over for coffee. And I could just sense like you were just like fighting something.
Mhm.
So it was more of like a moment of like, I think we should just like ease up and pray
totally.
before we walk in here and do what
And
you got
then
to
that
do.
was like, I think, and this sounds so intense, but I think to me that was like a shift in the moment of like, oh, like I thought you were cute. I thought maybe we could have kissed on my birthday trip like a couple whatever ago. But now I'm like, oh, I could probably see myself like having a life with you.
Wow.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you just blush.
Yeah.
He did.
But it was just different. It was just really different. And it wasn't corny, like you said, and it wasn't forced. It was just like really natural. Yeah. And then we got there and it was like we started and it just like came like kind of right out of the car, like onto the stage. So it was just like a little like moment of like, oh, what's going on? I'd also, mind you, I got stung by a stingray while I was in Orange County.
Yep.
And like
so
a stingray at the bottom of my foot. So I had to like bandage it every single day, like bound. My foot is bound.
The bottom of her foot is black.
So it was horrible.
Yeah,
it was
so it's
so
not
painful.
like, yeah.
So I'm like hobbling in. I think I like tripped getting on stage.
Yo,
and I could just hear Enoch.
She's
like,
on stage barefoot.
Uh-huh.
She's literally wobbling in.
I know, because I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I just got stung by a stingray.
She refused to use the crutches. I remember that. And you were wobbling in.
Oh my gosh, who's going to use crutches?
Barefoot with bandages falling off at the bottom of your foot.
Anyway, so
and
then
everyone that's sitting in, they're like,
they're kind of like,
what in the world?
But
she's
I
like,
could
all right,
just,
everybody.
I know. I'm like, hey, everyone. I could just hear like you in the back, just like praying so hard.
Wow.
Oh
just like praying for me. And it was just so special. And then when I was leaving, Todd and Taylor were like, who's that guy? He's in love with you.
Okay.
They're like, that guy is so in love with you. What's going on? And I was like, shut up. And then that was like continuation. We just like hung out and just had like a lot of really deep conversations.
The continuation of this cycle that's happened for 2 years now.
Yeah. And then it was the weekend of me leaving.
Yeah.
I had moved my flight a couple times.
Yep.
No, but let's get to the point where like, is that the moment you realize like, okay, this could be something? Or I guess of giving me a sign, because up until this moment, you had not given me a sign. And I think for
and
any
here's
guy,
the thing that
any
I
guy
feel like
out there,
I'm like, I've given signs, but allegedly I hadn't. But I will say that Todd, I was talking to Todd. It was before we went over to his house that Saturday.
Yeah.
So this is like in the context of a week. I think I spoke in there on like a Wednesday night. Yeah. Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, I'm on the phone with Todd, and I was like, I don't know if he likes me. And he was like, are you crazy? He likes you so much. And I was like, I don't know. I can't tell. And Todd was like, you've literally put off no idea that he could ever even be with you. You appear like you think you're being flirty, but you're actually so standoffish, and you've made it like you're in a cage.
That
and
part.
I was like, no.
That part. And so
like,
that goes back to
wrong.
that goes back to the thing of like even the holding of hands. It felt pretty casual on my end.
Okay.
She's like,
And
I
so-
bared my soul.
I know. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's
not
so
until
crazy.
you literally made it abundantly clear is where I went for it. And that didn't happen until like the last night of you actually leaving. She moves her flight about 3 times.
I just like, we had spent what felt like this whole month together, kind of. It was weeks. And then Saturday we go over to Todd's, we all hang out. We're like all having a great time. Sunday, we had played like pickleball with a bunch of people. And then I had moved my flight. I like found some great excuse to like move my flight for, because there was like a wreck on like whatever the highway. Do you remember that? And someone was like, "Do you guys see this wreck?" I was like, "I'm just gonna move my flight to the morning."
So y'all, the city
I
of
like-
Atlanta is crazy.
I
right
know,
now.
and I was like,
And I was
the
like, yeah, I
last
can't
thing I
leave
want to
yet.
do is like go get on a flight right now. And I was like, I literally remember telling myself, I was like, all right, he's gonna have till my flight leaves like 5 a.m. and you were gonna take me. And where we were staying, the like Gainesville is what, like an hour or something away from the airport. So he was gonna have to like, no matter what, we're gonna have to stay up all night for him to take me.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is his opportunity. Like if he wants like whatever. And then me and you went to the grocery store like after pickleball, and then we were both being very flirty. And I was like,
Very.
all right, well, if this isn't it, then like
We turned it up.
he's a wimp.
Okay.
No, actually.
No,
I
we
know,
turned it up.
literally. And I was like, all right, then if you don't get this, you just don't get it.
She was fiending.
Okay,
She was
fiending is so crazy.
She was fiending, y'all.
And then I could tell like how different you were being too, and then I could tell how nervous you were being because then we went upstairs to like go.
Things got real.
You were helping me pack my bags.
Yeah.
And I'm like been traveling for so long. So I'm like, it took me like what, 2 hours to pack? Like packing all my things, gathering all of them together. And then we're like listening to music. We're talking, hanging out. And then like we had gotten like pretty close to each other.
Oh, snap.
Do you want to tell this part?
Sure.
From your perspective. This is the turning point of
I
everything.
think my arm at some point gets around you.
Yeah, we were very close.
Yeah. And still acting like it's casual. And then I'm kind of just like not rushing things, but she just snaps.
No.
She's like, "You gonna kiss me or what?"
No, you said.
I'm like,
no, you actually
Oh,
said
okay.
that. Because we got so close, and it was like we were like, our faces were almost.
yeah,
and
we're
then
like
you were
nose
like,
to nose. Might be
you're-
TMI.
I
but-
think you said something like, so are we going to kiss? And I didn't say anything. And I'll never forget. You said something to the tune of like, oh, the girl who has so many words has nothing to say right now. Or like the girl who can never stop talking has
Wow.
nothing to say, speechless.
she was speechless.
That's some serious riz
Yeah.
right there. I'm not gonna lie.
And I was just
So,
like,
okay.
all right.
So I was the one that said that.
Yes.
Are we gonna kiss or what? And you were just like, like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
like, you don't have to ask. I'm like, just
Of
kiss
course,
me.
you've got to ask. Let's go ahead and pause there.
Like, okay. And like,
As a guy, if you've got any confusion and you don't know,
sure,
ask.
that's great. That's
You can always work it in as some riz, but get some clarity.
But that wasn't our problem. Wasn't like obviously consent. It was the problem of you wanted to know that I liked you before
Yeah.
you kissed me.
I wanted to know before anything that it would go somewhere.
So,
And so
he
y'all,
like he
we-
basically just rolls out like, unless we have a commitment, I'm not going to kiss you. I'm like, what?
Because up until this point, I've come to the realization that she's wanted to kiss all this time.
So you
like-
just think I'm a dog?
No, yeah, she's a dog, and she's really just trying to kiss. And I'm like, listen, I'd love to kiss you right now, but if we're gonna kiss, we've got a date. Like this has got to be real. You're not just about to get on the flight in 2 hours.
You're built different.
Yeah,
I'm like,
honestly,
you're not
I
about to
do
get on the
love
flight in
that.
2 hours, and then next time we just see each other, it gets weird, or maybe we text and it gets weird. You know what I mean?
So
We don't-
he's articulating all this. Mind you, we're so close. I'm thinking it's like,
We're like-
all the tension's built up. We're about to kiss.
We're like beak to beak.
beak to birds now.
Yeah. All you need is a little push and you're kissing. You know
and
what
then,
I mean?
And then I was just like, what? And I realized what was happening of like, oh, he is not going to kiss me until like, unless we have something like solidified.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Something to hold on to that's just not
but
physical.
I think I was confused of like how you were asking me. And I was like, is he saying he likes me? I'm like, and at this point I'd already realized that I liked you.
Right.
So then my response was like, I was like, well, we could just date. Like, because I'm going back to Dallas. And then it was just like this whole like long distance thing. We brought
Right.
that up. And it was like, is this just going to ruin our friendship? And
Right.
da-da-da-da. And like, and I think I remember I like leaned over. I was like, I'm exhausted by this. And you like pulled me back. And then I was like,
It's like,
what
no,
if we...
we're near the finish line.
I know.
Come
And I was like,
on.
and I literally was just like, what if we just date? And then you jumped on top of me.
I saw red.
I'm
And then he kissed me.
I did kiss
Yeah.
you.
And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But
And then after that, it was just, I feel like that's where everything just,
shifted
180.
for sure. Of like,
completely.
we
were on the way to the airport.
and mind you, then like we kiss, like,
We kiss, and she's
and
late to her
my
flight.
my alarm goes off. Like it was like Cinderella.
yeah.
Oh.
Like the minute we kiss, it's like, oh, we have to go to the airport right now.
And she's already changed
so
the
mind
flight
you,
about
we've
4
been
times.
in the same vicinity. We've been together for like a month. Could have like
Daily.
had such a cute little like start of our relationship, kissing on the beach, like sweet, like holding hands, like having a good going on little dates in Georgia. No, we literally immediately it's like got to go to the airport.
Yeah.
So then we get in the car.
Yeah, we're in the left lane, probably going 90, because she's about to miss this flight. We're kissing. she's literally
trying to make
asking-
up for like lost time.
She's literally telling me, "All right, we've got to do this, this, and that. You've got to meet this person. You've got to meet Earl. You got to probably call him this week. You definitely got to call my dad. This, that, and the other." She was like, "What's your credit?"
Yeah, I did ask
She's
him
like,
his credit
how's
score.
work going for you?" Like all the things.
I
This is like
did.
an interview at this point.
Here's the thing.
She was like,
I'm
"Are you good with money?"
There's no such thing as wasted time. You know what I mean?
No,
So like,
in that moment,
I'm like, we're both at an age where it's like,
definitely.
I'm not trying to just like poke around.
And so
And
that's why, like, not to speed ahead, I think that's why we got married so quick.
yeah,
Because we took care of stuff that like
we
would put off. We literally just like went after it.
Yeah. So then we just literally, we decided that day we were dating. We weren't like official yet, but we're like,
Right.
we're dating.
Made it official at the aquarium. She loves the aquarium.
Yeah,
Made it
that's
this
like
whole
jumping
thing.
cute.
forward. But I got on my flight, left, went home. I remember I drove to church because it was a Monday. My flight, I like missed my flight right when I got to the airport, and it wasn't because of this. I like dropped my ID in the line. I can't even go through that story. It's like I'm like, ugh. But I just remember I was like sitting in
Atlanta
the
airport. It's no
I was
grace.
just like sitting in the airport lounge forever and like calling everybody I know saying that I'm in love. I did. I called Rita and she was like, "Oh my God, you've met someone," and I was like, "Yeah." And then
Shout out Rita.
because I told her that I was going on this trip, on my birthday trip, and she said you were, and I said you were coming, and she was like, "I think something's gonna happen," and I was like, But then I got home. I like walk into Pastors Earl and Onika's office, and Onika's like, "You've met someone, I can tell." And then
Oh
I
my
She had
started,
that glow.
I
She
started
had that
talking
glow.
about him, and then like Earl comes in, and he went through your entire Instagram feed,
Yeah.
and then
Earl's running a background check.
no, literally. And then he's like, "Can I call him?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we literally like just kissed for the first time like hours ago." I was like, "It's so fresh." I was like, "This is so new." I was like, "Just maybe we give it a second."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, but I think we just knew like the level it was going to be serious like immediately.
yeah. I
Like
think
we
that's
never
because,
had a chase.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right.
There were no games.
And that's because for like 2 years it was like this friendship that we honestly like stewarded so well. I feel like
yeah.
there was so much depth in like the conversations we have. We'd always talk about the things of God. We'd always talk about like the healthy things that we want in a relationship or certain things that triggered us. Like there's certain conversations we had as friends, like without the filter of like nervousness from flirting and all those things. That once it was real, it made everything so much easier. Because it was already like that. Everything was already built up.
We already had a pretty big foundation.
Right.
So I would say like that was something that really helped us when we got into our relationship. And then we were long distance.
Yeah.
Tough.
So we like immediately I think the next time we didn't see each other for a month.
Yeah.
That
And
actually makes me feel
after
sick.
that month, we came to the agreement that we wouldn't go more than 2 weeks without seeing each other. So I'd always get on the flight for a weekend, or you would get on a flight to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We-
Long distance.
It was not for the week. That was a tough it was also fun. Like we really did try to make it fun.
Yeah, totally.
And I would say that a huge question, and like I think we're ending up doing this in probably 2 parts, so we can just like kind of finish the dating portion of things, and then we'll do a whole moment on
Yeah.
just kind of like how we got married and those things. But a couple of questions that I had gotten was about dating, and one was how was navigating intimacy while dating and what helped us during that season. Obviously like accountability and like people knowing where we were at, and being completely transparent. Like we are very attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't easy.
this is so stupid.
Right.
But I will say for some reason I had this like false ideology that if I was ever going to marry like a like a true man of God, that like I wouldn't be that I wouldn't be attracted to him.
Yeah.
And I know that's so horrible
Like
to say,
you
but
had
there
to
is
lose
like
somewhere to win
Kayla,
somewhere.
tell me I'm wrong. Like
No.
like
We
there
used to
is
talk about this all the time. We used to be like, if he's really gonna love God, he's gonna.
and
be
I'm like,
kinda
the Lord's
Yeah,
just gonna have
it
to
can't
fill
be
me with
both.
attraction for him. Like and like how many times I know this is probably a hot take. Like how many times you see in church like this stunning woman
Yeah. Yeah. Unacceptable.
with a very grateful man, and I'm like, that is just I don't know. So I just kind of always thought that was the
very
case.
grateful man.
He
So-
loves the Lord and he's gonna treat her
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, and that honestly, yes, truly, those are the foundations of things that matter 1000%. But you also get to be attracted to who you're with. I
Right.
used to be so like, I know I say this sometimes, like, I'm not a looks person, and you're like, that's mean to me.
Yeah, it does hurt my feelings.
No, but it's not. It's not
I
like
don't want
my.
to be like a shallow person. I don't want to be boring.
It's not my driver.
Right.
And I think I used to lean into that a little too much, where I didn't think that like that needed to be something in there. So yes, like in the intimacy side of when we started dating, we had to be really accountable to people. But I do think us being long distance,
Yeah, it was a gift.
like it really actually did
Yeah.
help, because every night we would call each other.
Yeah.
We were like reading like a Ephesians
Yeah.
devotional together,
Yeah.
and like we would end every night like praying over
And
each
it
other.
was so hard, even like when I was in town or you were in town, and we'd hang out, and I'd have to drive to like Aunt Pat's so late.
No matter what, whenever we would be like in each other's city, for some reason where the other person would be staying was so far. So
It was
Enoch was like
30 minutes to
driving.
45 minutes away. And mind you, you get in a relationship, she's not going to be driving. Like
yeah,
even
I'm not gonna drive.
whether she was in Dallas,
What are we talking about?
right? Whether like we were in each other's cities, it was always me driving.
I mean, she wasn't gonna drive though.
I don't think I'll ever drive again. I don't even know if I'll get my license renewed.
Yeah, you drove yesterday for the first time since like August, I think.
I
could
know,
tell.
and I
She almost
hated
got in a
that.
wreck.
I hated that. But no, so we just basically had certain parameters in place, and they were not always fun. Like it's rewarding, always like the road
Yeah.
to like abstinence and like all those things, but it's obviously not. It's not the easier route.
No, it's so
I'm like,
hard.
there's so many, and I have like my own
Practically,
house here.
physically.
So
yeah.
of course, when he comes in town, like, of course I would have loved for him to be able to stay with me, or even stay in just one of the rooms in my house, so we didn't have to
Right.
drive 45 minutes to go stay with my aunt when
Yeah.
he stayed here. But he did.
It was the driving part,
Yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think that like work was honored.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah. I think God
Um,
honored that for sure. Shout out long distance. In some ways, it was a blessing.
It really was.
Yeah.
And it just made us get to know each other's mind way more.
Yes.
And like learn how to communicate. That was something that was huge.
Yeah.
That I feel like we had down, was just the way that
It's
we
not
could-
always easy to communicate when I'm staring at all that.
Oh my god, the way he said it. And I also didn't like all that. Like, don't make it seem like it's so much.
All that. all
All
that.
right, this is
Oh,
to the
you
end
fine.
of episode 1.
Oh, you fine. Dang.
So next week we're gonna talk part 2. We're gonna go through all of the Q&As, and then we're gonna talk about like
Where are you from?
Enoch.
What's next?
We're gonna
There's
talk.
a part 2.
Yeah,
There's more.
and there's more, and we're gonna talk about our wedding.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that would be
maybe-
so good.
maybe we'll even release like a wedding video
That'd be cute.
of all the things. I actually found all of our videos from our honeymoon a couple days ago and was like, oh my gosh, I never even did anything with these.
One in Rome.
So this is gonna feel like we're getting married all over again, all over my social
Yeah.
media.
And so this week's golden nugget is
I would say this week's golden nugget would probably be something to the tune of, man, God's timing is always best.
yeah.
I think in our story particular, like, it was so evident that there were so many ways we could have rushed things, or we could have like jumped the gun on things, or like we've been in each other's lives for a second. And I think that God's timing is his kindness. So when it's even when there's someone in your life that like the Lord hasn't like revealed to you yet in that way, I think that it's so ordained by the Lord, and to just kind of like lean into that. And I think the beauty of our story was that we didn't have to like burst open any doors or break
Yeah.
any locks. Like it was
Or force
really,
it.
yeah, it really just kind of like bloomed in the way that it should.
Yeah.
I
That's
feel like
good.
that would be it. Do you
So
guys
good.
like that?
No, I
It's
think that's real.
beautiful.
I think when it's God, it just feels so graced. I think so many people ask me like, how'd you know? How'd you know? And I'm just like, honestly, after like my history, I just felt like there was a difference between something being like good versus God.
Mm-hmm.
And like once I was walking in this with you, I was like, as a guy, you fully go after it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I got to a place where I was like, where I felt the Lord was like, this is your wife, so it's completely on you if you want to mess it up or not.
Wow.
And that's puts on like, I would receive it as like a holy pressure where it's like, okay, it's on me to steward this well. So yeah, I feel like that's good. It's a good golden nugget.
And on that note, we will see you guys next week when we go into all the things about our wedding and what it's like to be married and go into the Q&A.
Nice.
But that's all for this week. We love you so much. We hope you had so much fun listening to this episode and kind of just getting to know us more. We will see you next week, Nuggets.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.